Hi, I'm Thibaut. I work in climate finance, helping nature-based projects get money. A few weeks ago, I traveled across Southeast Asia to see how it all works on the ground, meeting project developers, communities, and interviewing around 10 people on different climate finance mechanisms to fund their projects. Let's dive into this episode. Ecotourism, biodiversity credits. Can they finance nature? This is part of the third challenge focusing on ensuring extra economic activities. So, everyone have their own definition of ecotourism. Some say that it doesn't exist and is unreachable, but I disagree. I know that tourism can be controversial, especially when you think about how destructive it can be, but I want to talk about community-led ecotourism, coupled with volunteering, which is a way to fund conservation while letting people experience nature firsthand. To start the topic, let's begin with a question to one of our project developers. What additional types of funding do you receive beyond grants and CSR contributions?
We also have a very small kind of capacity building student internship program that we run that also contributes a little bit of funding and also helps us continue some of our work to capacity build Sri Lankan students for marine science as well.
In one project that I could see, in Toraja in Indonesia, this mix of education, tourism, community action really had an impact of how the project was living sustainably, and that had different sources of income.
Here in Tanah Toraja, I'm running an eco project. I started the project in 2008, aiming at empowering or helping the community, more especially the local kids, through education. And I tried this line.
But then, what are the different sources of income that he earns to sustain his project?
We are trying to run different activities here, like giving a chocolate workshop to the visitors, and also coffee. And then in the future, we are planning to run like cooking class because my wife likes sharing her knowledge with those who are interested to do this. And also, sometimes we receive donations from many people who care about this activity or who care about this project, and also from volunteering activity. I think once actually someone visited the area, and then they will soon realize how important actually it is to work together to, for the sake of the world, for the sake of the future of the children. Yeah.
What Didi also told me were the indirect effects. It keeps young people engaged, creates local employment, and encourages communities to value and protect their ecosystems. But realizing how important it is not enough to create action. Usually when you see a product like that is really cool, you really want to act. But sometimes as a company or as an individual, you just don't have the money to spend on this type of projects. And it's the same as a CSR director. It's not fully in your hand to guess what will be the budget that will be put in each project to finance. But what is good is that you also have other ways to help that don't include money. So when a company or an investment pool provides funding, it should also think about two key things. First, what kind of technical assistance can they provide to support the long-term success? And second, how to engage local communities and influence behavior by leveraging partner networks. So for instance, if the buyer or sender of the money is a bank, they could also provide microfinance to farmers, and or if it's a company that is specialized in recycling or material supply, for instance, they could also do something. Even though microfinance can also be tricky on the ground with farmers or with problems like it's working at the beginning but with the loss of control afterwards, it can still work. So if you give technical help as a CSR project, you also reduce this risk. As well, having someone on the ground that is engaging daily or regularly at least with the local communities can also be essential. And how does the work of Natir affect the communities? Does this project have benefits going beyond environment?
And also, I really wanted that the children from this village will try to get involved in this kind of activity. That way, we will try to protect our land in Tanah Toraja because of the tradition sometimes, and then you have to sell your land, and then without thinking that's your children or your grandchildren will need land in the future. So let the children save the land for their future by growing something, and then children actually in Toraja do not have to leave Toraja to find work. Yeah, like by going to other places like to Kalimantan or to Papua, to many places. They can stay here and then protect the land. They can do something here in their own land. Also, I'm trying to teach together with my volunteers coming from many different countries in the world. We are trying to teach different skills for their future. And yeah, I mean, we really want to give them a better future.
But behind the beauty of those projects, the reality can still be messy. So in one of the village I visited close by to a mangrove restoration project, I could see a shrimp farming pond that released some plastic and that also released some dark wastewater directly into the river that was then leading to the ocean. So as you can see here, chickens and fish feed there, some die, and the chickens even need the plastic, so which raise concerns related to food safety. And also, houses sit right alongside the canals, and the polluted water flows through the villages. There are many other environmental and social challenges that need attention, so providing some help such as recycling or cleaning better the area, not only linked to money and just planting, can have really a great impact as well. It goes beyond the project themselves, where you have some ecological, economical, political, social issues that you have to solve as well. It is complicated, but we will see now that some drops or some big climate finance mechanism can make a change with the rise of biodiversity credits, but also of larger institutional funding aiming to finance the bigger picture. So, beyond the nature finance mechanisms seen earlier, new markets are emerging, like biodiversity or plastic credits. So they are experimental for now and found some first buyers actually, but they could really change how we value ecosystems. And as I said in the introduction, that's what we might need to find a return on investment on nature. Because there is a big economic value out of it that is just not fully understood yet. But fortunately, there are a lot of new reports and articles that are now talking about it and that are pretty interesting. And to dive deeper, I asked one project developer that used to work at the IUCN, is there an economic valuation associated with nature?
I don't think very many people understand the value of biodiversity. There aren't very many valuation studies that have been done. We may be having some for maybe the Singaraja forest or very, very unique ecosystems like that, but any other area, I don't think valuations have been done. So obviously there is an economic value to all of these.
And it's needed. Even though not all companies investing in biodiversity are looking for a financial return on investment or anything related to this, some do it for reputation, others for their brand image or for long-term ecosystem value. And what about in Sri Lanka? So I asked Shirani, why are your partners investing in biodiversity? Are they looking for a financial return on investment?
Usually the private sector members of Biodiversity Sri Lanka work on biodiversity or ecosystem restoration type projects, mainly because they have it within their sort of priorities. And a lot of them at the moment are not looking for financial returns. But we think at Biodiversity Sri Lanka that we should be incentivizing the private sector for the work that they do to restore or upgrade biodiversity in the country. So there are many instruments that can be used for this, and one of which we are actively working on is biodiversity credits.
And those companies are not the only ones doing that in the countries that I visited. Because Don is also exploring the idea of biodiversity credits. But I asked him, what is the goal of assigning an economic value to biodiversity itself actually?
The main goal behind this is to see how we can issue instruments or tokens such as carbon credits, biodiversity credits, plastic credits in projects based in Sri Lanka that have not only an economic benefit, but as a social and a health benefit, as well as positive co-benefits across the board.
But for now, the challenge is clear. There is still no single agreed way to measure those economical benefits and to compare the different biodiversity credits. So over 60 methodologies exist today to calculate them, and more than 30 frameworks are currently being compared. That is at least what was stated by Blue Labs in June 2024, that you can see here, with indicators, metrics, and calculation that were different from entities to entities, from Vera to Plan Vivo, for instance. It's a bit messy, but on the go. And what is a bit less messy is a larger scale institutional financing. It's also has its beginnings when you look at the different statistics about how much we would need to finance nature, but it's rising. And that's what we will try to cover in the next episode.
But some very specific mechanisms that are needed in a debt for nature swap or a blue bond, green bond, urban context are still lacking.
Securitize our natural assets without selling our land, without selling any physical space here.
But what is good with them is that you can take nature as part of your national financial plan.